If you're the kind of person that ever wondered why The Undertaker and IRS never formed a tag team called Death and Taxes, this is the podcast for you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Two Words Podcast.
I love that so much.
And welcome back once again to the
Two-thirds podcast.
I was going to say the 2000s podcast, but welcome back to the Two Words Podcast Season 6 premiere. Woo! 6 seasons in a movie. That's all I'm saying. After this season, we get a movie.
Those
are the rules. Those are the rules.
Contract.
And we are talking our two words today, our dream match, because we've always had those matches that we wished had happened. The Sting versus Undertaker, the Macho Man versus CM Punk. The matches we wanted and will never happen for one reason or another. And so today, those are the matches as two fanboys we are bringing out. Do you have any good fan matches that you always wanted to see growing up? I just name them?
You took some of my thunder with Sting versus Undertaker. That's my first one.
That was always the one, though.
It's the one a lot of people. I mean, personally, though, that's the one those were my two favorite wrestlers for the longest time in both companies.
Yeah,
WCW and WWE, and I felt like that was the match. It was the two supernatural guys. I wanted to see how that match was pulled off. I wanted to see all the weird pyro and junk that they decided to add into it. I wanted to see the storytelling build up to it. I wanted it so badly. And they just could not sync that up.
They just couldn't sync it up. They could have, though. They could have, though. And they chose not to.
But we needed Triple H to bury him for no reason.
I just can't imagine the conversation that they had. It was like, okay, we've got Sting probably one WrestleMania. So I think we all know who he needs to wrestle at the one WrestleMania. Sting, the one person that everybody's been wanting to see him wrestle is, and he was like, Triple H, right? Everybody's wanting to see. No, I think everybody wants to see him and Undertaker. I've never heard that before.
Pretty sure people want to see Triple H, and then DX comes out, and then NWO, the one that he never joined, that also comes out.
Yeah, want to see that. We would like the cumulative age of all of the men in the ring to be 400.
It wasn't a terrible match. It
was a fun match.
It wasn't the Undertaker and Kane versus Triple H and Shawn Michaels match. Like, it was okay.
Yeah, it was.
But it was mostly for nostalgia. But I don't get having Triple H go over on him. Because the whole point was that he was coming in as like the White Knight against the Authority. Yeah. They should have had him triumph at WrestleMania.
Just makes absolutely no sense.
And then they also had to do it outdoors during the daylight.
That was weird.
Lost a lot of mystique for Sting as well, coming out. Broad daylight.
I understand. I think they should just stop doing them on the West Coast,
or go to an indoor arena on the West Coast.
Because they had one match that was kind of in the dark that night, and it was the last match. And you could still see, like, the sun was setting.
Right. Yeah.
It was still like 4:00 in the afternoon in San Francisco.
That was a really long pay-per-view, too. That was that 7-hour WrestleMania.
Was it?
Yeah. The one that ended with Seth Rollins winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple that I have that obviously I want to see prime Roddy Piper versus MJF. Like, I want to see those guys because, yes, they can both talk. Yes, they can both trash each other. But I think they could put on a very fun match to watch. Just, obviously, it's a no disqualifications match. Maybe a false count anywhere, and we pull out the Bronco. And we run MJF over. Wouldn't that be fun?
Just with the tire. Just keep it on his chest and pin him that way.
Just that's how it works. I would love to have seen a DDP versus Hangman. It's the very best match that we can find.
The bestest match out there.
I think it would be fun because I always thought that DDP made everybody else in WCW look like they were in their 80s.
I agree with that.
Like DDP was years ahead in the wrestling game because there was a fatal 4-way at one of the Halloween Havocs, and it was Hogan, Flair, Goldberg, and DDP. And DDP and Goldberg locked up, and Hogan and Flair locked up, and it was like, oh, Hogan and Flair look bad.
Everything's all droopy.
Wobbly, man. It's not fun. It's not fun. Do you have any that we haven't thought of, that most people wouldn't have thought of?
I have one that we wouldn't have thought of, but let me get rid of the other one that I have first, because this one's still possible, and I really hope it does happen, and that's The Rock versus Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Where The Rock loses.
All right.
I want to see that. I want to see Roman Reigns go over on The Rock. My preference would be that it happens at Royal Rumble, and like that's the capper. It's Rock versus Roman Reigns. Rock loses, and then Cody goes on to face him at WrestleMania. I would love to see that happen. I don't know if it's gonna, but I would love to. But no, the one that I have here, which I actually wrote out an entire how it would go down.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's got on their radar. The Fiend versus Mr. McMahon.
You got some explaining to do.
You want me to go? I'll go. I'll tell the whole story right now.
So let me look.
Go ahead.
Because you did text me earlier that you've got a very and your well established stuff always winds up being so great. So I have a couple that I can just like name off. I would love to see a Shield triple threat match between all three members of the Shield.
Did that never happen?
I don't think it ever did. I think we got really close.
Did we get really close?
I think individually they have wrestled each other.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think there was ever a...
But I want it to be like that's the story. Oh, was there?
Dean Ambrose at Battleground 2016. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns.
Huh.
But a build-up one at a big pay-per-view.
Yeah, I need something. Yeah, really, really great.
Battleground's a pretty throwaway pay-per-view.
Yeah, in 2016, who was even watching wrestling back then?
So, like, today, you want today's Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah.
Today's Seth Rollins and today's John Moxley.
1,000%.
That would be fantastic.
Because that is three very different personalities. I told you it was going to be crazy. I think Jake Roberts versus Lance Archer would be a lot of fun. Just two dudes who are 7 feet tall, just roughhousing each other. My problem is that every time I see Jake Roberts, I always think of him and Peanut Butter Falcon. When he beats up a mentally challenged kid, and that's his story in that movie.
That's his part of the plot,
and he just does it. And there's no like build up to him being angry about it. He's just like, no, this is. You see him for 3 minutes, and in that 3 minutes, he just says, "I'm gonna beat up this kid." This is it.
I think you're missing though the key match that everyone wants to see. Omos versus Great Khali.
I mean,
that's your WrestleMania main event right there.
I mean, if I can't get Omos versus Omos, then yeah, Omos versus Great Khali.
Omos versus Omos in a triple threat Omos match.
In a Nigerian nightmare match. Nigerian death match, whatever. Ricky Steamboat versus Bryan Danielson.
Ricky Steamboat versus...
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one we didn't think of. That's a technical match. Mm-hmm. Really, really great.
That sounds like it would be good.
So one that I really think would be fun, and I'm not sure like if you couldn't do it now, but I think in like the late 2000s, you could have had John Cena versus Raven in like a Tommy Dreamer-esque feud. Because that was his feud in ECW, is like he was like the dark brooding guy, and Tommy Dreamer was like the good looking guy that got everything, and he was raised in the nice house, and like, because I think the whole story was like they went to like summer camp together, and Tommy Dreamer beat him up in front of like a girl or something. That sounds like something they'd do in ECW. But like, I would love to see like a Raven come out and be like, you're next. You're the good looking guy that's got everything. We got to do this. And because I also really love watching John Cena in no DQ matches. And it's not because I just want everybody to beat up John Cena, but I really just, I think something John Cena is very underrated at is no disqualification matches.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hit me.
I'd also just like to see John Cena versus Kenny Omega.
I think it'd be fun.
I feel like that would be a fun match.
Just you gotta
not a 5-star match, but a fun match.
Not at all. Not at all.
Very fun.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
So your this thing that you've got me excited about.
Are you excited or just confused?
Well, I was excited until you told me, and now I'm intrigued.
All right. This is the whole storyline. Here we go. And we're playing it out like it's this year. Okay. Action. Bray Wyatt returns. He's the Fiend again. The whole thing. We're back to the Fiend, the Firefly Funhouse. We're back to that character. And his sights set on Vince McMahon, who has been making TV appearances again, ever so slightly, not really causing any problems. He's just here. Vince is getting messed with backstage by the Fiend. Puppets are popping up every now and then, scaring him, that kind of stuff. Little minor things. No beating him up or anything like that. The Fiend reappears for the first time actually on screen during a segment where Vince McMahon is announcing a few participants for the Royal Rumble match. The Fiend interrupts him and says that he wants to be in the match and that he has a special surprise for Vince. He then showed a video of him burning down the Connecticut WWE headquarters, because I'm pretty sure the headquarters are moving, so what a perfect opportunity to get it destroyed.
Of course.
Where Vince's office was located. Vince was shocked and enraged by this and vowed to stop the Fiend at any cost. The Fiend entered the Royal Rumble match as the last entrant, eliminates everyone in his path. He was about to win the match. Vince McMahon's music hits and comes out with a group of security guards. Vince ordered them to take out the Fiend. The Fiend fights them all off, then stares at Vince from the ring, him up on the stage. Vince then revealed his surprise. He had hired Brock Lesnar, the former WWE champion, to eliminate the Fiend. Brock Lesnar entered the ring and confronted the Fiend. It doesn't have to be Brock. It could be anybody, but Brock ain't doing anything right now.
Yeah.
So the Fiend managed to hit him with a mandible claw and then throw him over the top rope, wins the match. The Fiend celebrates his victory by doing the stereotypical point at the WrestleMania sign, indicated that he wanted to challenge for the WWE championship at WrestleMania 40. However, Vince McMahon grabbed a microphone and said that he would not allow the Fiend to main event WrestleMania. So the Fiend had to face him first at No Holds Barred, in a No Holds Barred match, rather, at Elimination Chamber, where anything goes. He also said that if the Fiend lost, he would lose his Royal Rumble win and his WrestleMania opportunity. The Fiend accepted this challenge and then laughed maniacally. The match at Elimination Chamber was a brutal and violent affair that saw both men using weapons, dirty tactics. Vince McMahon tried to use his power and influence to cheat his way to victory, such as having a referee on his side, having Brock Lesnar interfere again, and having the lights go out. However, the Fiend overcame all of the obstacles and pushed Vince McMahon, punished Vince McMahon with his twisted moves. The match ended with the Fiend locked Vince McMahon in the Hell's Gate submission hold on the verge of making him pass out. Last minute, Shane McMahon kicks the Fiend in the head, knocking him through the ropes and onto the floor, where Brock Lesnar once again attacks, managing to tie the Fiend's hands behind his back and hurling him back into the ring. Brock began attacking the Fiend, focusing on the head, smashing his skull with chairs, the ring stairs, etc., until the Fiend stops moving. Vince then gets up and violently rips the mask off of Bray Wyatt, who is knocked out. Brock flips him over. Vince pins him for the win, and a massive chorus of boos ends that pay-per-view. Vince opens Raw the next night, walking in with his standard bravado, touting how he did what many of his own talent couldn't do. He defeated the monster. Lights go out. Firefly Funhouse begins on the screen. Bray Wyatt appears. Next to him are the puppets, including the puppet of the Demon Vince. he challenges Vince to face him in a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania 40, where he promises to expose his darkest secrets and fears. Vince McMahon accepts the challenge and vows to destroy The Fiend once and for all. He says that he's not afraid of The Fiend and that he will show him who the real boss is. Stipulation, as you know, noting the puppet up there. The stipulation Vince sets is that if The Fiend loses, he's fired. In the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, Fiend haunts Vince McMahon backstage. More of that jump scare stuff with the puppets. The Raw before WrestleMania, Bray Wyatt and the Vince puppet are shown on the Firefly Funhouse, hyping up the match. Bray then violently grabs the puppet Vince by the throat and rips the head from the puppet body. Looks to the camera and says, "Vince, let me in." Flash in the face up there, the Fiend face as well. The match at WrestleMania 40 is a surreal and twisted journey that takes both men through different eras and moments of WWE history. The match starts in the Firefly Funhouse set where Bray welcomes Vince and introduces him to the puppet friends. He then leads him through the back door where the madness begins. The first segment is of the match is a parody of the Attitude Era, where Vince is dressed as his Mr. McMahon character, and Bray is dressed as Stone Cold Steve Austin. Bray mocks Vince for his feud with Austin and his infamous catchphrases such as "You're fired" and "It was me, Austin, it was me all along." All this kind of, just like the John Cena thing where they're going through the different eras of him. Hits him with a stunner, pours a beer on him. Then we go to the invasion angle. Bray comes out dressed as Eric Bischoff, former head of WCW. Fiend mocks Vince for his obsession with beating WCW and his failure to capitalize on the invasion storyline, and how beating them also beat himself. Hollywood Hulk Hogan comes in from behind and knocks Vince to the ground. This is imaginary, right? Hulk's not going to come back for this, but gives him a leg drop, rips open the suit jacket and shirt. Bray spray paints NWO on his chest. Third segment of the match is Ruthless Aggression. Bray is dressed as John Cena, mocks Vince for his creation of Cena and reliance on him as the face of the WWE and the PG era, taking all the bite out of WWE. He then hits him with an attitude adjustment, does a terrible Cena rap about how much Vince sucks. Fourth segment, PG era. Bray's dressed as CM Punk. Fiend mocks Vince for his loss of touch with the fans and his censorship of WWE. Hits him with the GTS and then delivers a pipe bomb promo about how he will leave WWE with Vince's grapefruits in a jar. The fifth segment of the match is a parody of the Reality Era, where Bray's dressed as Daniel Bryan. The Fiend mocks Vince for his rejection of Bryan and manipulation of the fans. He then hits him with a running knee and leads a yes chant with the puppets. Puppets going, yes, in the background. Sixth segment, Modern Era. Bray's dressed as Roman Reigns. The Fiend mocks Vince for his obsession with Reigns and his failure to make him the next Cena. Hits him with a spear and makes him acknowledge him as the tribal chief. The seventh segment, brief shot of Vince and Bray, both wearing neck braces with beautiful girls hanging on both of their arms. Bray goes, "Oops, this would be a scandal. Lights go dark." The final segment of the match is a dark ring, bathed in red light, where Vince is dressed as himself, Bray is dressed as the Fiend. The Fiend points to the old Attitude Era Titantron hanging in the back, where a video plays of Bray Wyatt handing Brock Lesnar the straps to tie him up before the Elimination Chamber match. Another camera angle shows that Brock never connected with the Fiend's head during the match and that the Fiend was playing along. Brock was in on it. After Vince removed his mask and was pinning him, the new camera angle shows a smile come across Bray Wyatt's face as he lost that match. The Fiend planned to lose all along, to capitalize on Vince's ego, to trick him to coming to the Firefly Funhouse, to show him his failures, and to do what none that came before him could do, end his career. The Fiend seizes Vince, connects with the sister Abigail, and Vince is out cold in the ring. The Fiend rolls out, grabs a gas can and pours it all around the ring, takes his lantern and smashes it in the middle of the mat, setting the whole ring ablaze with him and Vince both being engulfed in the flames. WrestleMania 40 fades to black when an In Loving Memory title card appears with Vince's photograph, and that's how the show ends. It's at this point, Vince is written off TV for good with the storyline that he died in a fire, which is something that he did try to do until the whole thing with Chris Benoit happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the Fiend isn't seen again for a few months, giving the impression that he died as well and making his return that much more menacing.
Oh, my goodness.
But I mean, it would be what my idea is that this would be a beautiful moment of actually having Vince McMahon go through all the different eras of WWE.
Yeah.
And paying homage to that in a way that he's still doing what people do in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
He loses his last match.
And that's
Am I crazy? Is it stupid?
No, I don't think it's stupid.
I feel like I would be glued to the freaking television.
Because it also, like, it does it in a way that, like, Vince McMahon at his age currently could still,
right,
like, do all this, because, like, all that cinematic stuff would be, like, easy peasy lemon squeezy for him, right? You know, taking him through those stories and making him, like, face what he did. You know, because it also, you know, you could also throw in, you know, some sort of reference to the Paul Heyman promo that he cut on Vince back in like 2001.
Oh, about
that wrestling is a dirty word.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that promo, by the way.
There's so many things that you could throw into that.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
No, that's awesome. And that's a great way to get Vince, like, send Vince off, you know, into the sunset. Problem is that, you know, he wouldn't leave.
Of course not.
Like, he'd come back. He'd come back like 3 weeks later. Be like, did you miss me? Like, it'd just be, you know.
I don't know. I have hopes. That once the Endeavor deal goes through, they're going to put just a little bit of limitation on, you know what? You need to stay off. We need you to stay here.
He'll learn. Maybe. I don't know. So, I have one kind of match that I think would be really great. And this is all, again, we're seeing this as like the guys in their prime kind of thing, and maybe do it now. I don't know. But I want to do a Forbidden Door match.
Okay.
You know, at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and I want it to be Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega versus AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels. I want to have a fatal four-way to see who is the best in the world. I want to see these guys.
Wouldn't be Shawn Michaels right now.
It wouldn't be Shawn Michaels right now, but I mean,
I feel like it might be if it was like everybody in their prime.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, because, and also I want to do it in New Japan, because that's where like the best wrestling matches come from. I mean, that's like all of these guys have had their best matches, with the exception of Shawn Michaels, in New Japan. Like, just amazing. I think that, you know, having a story where, you know, Kenny Omega comes out and is like, I am the belt collector. I am, you know, the king of this business, and there's nobody that can do it nearly as good as me. And then Chris Jericho comes out, and you think like, okay, it's just gonna be like an AEW thing, and Chris Jericho's got to go, no, you can't be the best, because I is the best in the world at what I do. Like, I beat Shawn Michaels. I beat, you know, and then listing all of these guys. And that's when Shawn Michaels comes out. Armbar. Yeah. And you know, and then that's when, like, you know, AJ Styles comes out and is like, I know you can't be having a best in the world conversation without me, because I've been doing this for almost just as long as either one of you guys, but I've been doing it in the places that weren't given a chance. I wasn't given a chance to be the best in the world. And then Shawn Michaels comes out, and you have these four guys who can put on the greatest matches of all time. I want to see them.
That sounds good.
I want to see that happen. So,
with the exception of Shawn Michaels, you could still do that.
You could do that right now. You
could do that today.
And I mean, AJ Styles isn't going to renew his contract. Now we're in like the last 3 or 4 years of his contract, I think.
You don't think he's going to renew it?
He said he wasn't going to, which people say a lot of things, but
yeah. I don't understand why not. Barely got him on TV anymore.
Yeah.
He's still a fan favorite, but like, and why did we bring back Gallows and Anderson? If we weren't, they've been on TV 3 times since we brought him back.
I forgot that they're not in Impact anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I legit, until you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I guess they are.
I saw them in a backstage segment for half a second like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Why didn't we do more with them and like Mia Yim?
She was there too.
Yeah.
She's still there. They're still a team.
The last thing I really saw
It was Judgment Day.
was,
It was that weird thing they had with Judgment Day, and that was months ago.
where he popped the Bluey doll. There was a Bluey doll.
Oh, that's right.
The end of SmackDown.
I forgot AJ Styles was on that SmackDown. I didn't catch that SmackDown.
Yeah.
He didn't pop the Bluey doll, did he?
No, I don't think he popped the Bluey doll. I think he just had it.
The opponent, whoever that was, popped the bingo doll, bingo balloon that was out there.
What a giant pile of manure.
AJ Styles was being the hero.
Well, good for him. Good for him. Well, those are our dreams. We want to hear your dreams. So if you head on over to any of our social medias at 2 words LTN, you can let us know how wrong we are, and we might admit to being wrong. We probably won't, though, because that's not the kind of thing we do. At least not to other people. We'll do it with each other sometimes, but we like to double down most of the time. But we are so excited for this season. It's going to be the best season yet. I know I keep saying that, and then it keeps happening. And we hope that you guys can listen.
I know I keep saying that, and it keeps coming true.
I am awesome. Okay.